Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. I reviewed this oscilloscope from FNIRSI a couple of months or more ago now, a little while back, yeah, okay. And it worked very well actually. This was the little digital phosphorus oscilloscope, 180 megahertz, handheld. I've used it occasionally on videos since then, and it does the job. We measured the specs of this. It will certainly display waveforms at and above 180 megahertz. I'll link the original video to this one. And one of the things I really liked about this, if I can just avoid the reflection from my overhead lighting, this has a very nice bright display. Better than what I would normally see on a handheld oscilloscope, at least. So I was a little bit surprised recently when FNIRSI contacted me again and asked if I'd like to have a look at the new version of this oscilloscope. And of course, because I've looked at quite a bit of their equipment, I said yes. So today in the post I received this, and this actually is a kit for this one. So what this is, it's like a housing that you put this inside, and apparently it's much easier to use in this housing. The buttons are firmer. These have a kind of like a squidgy feel to them. So let's have a look to see how easy it is to fit the new casing on this, and let's see if it makes it better to use once we've done that. So the first thing I notice, there's no instructions with this, which makes me think it must be fairly easy. I can see there are 4 screws, I think, in the back of there. A bit hard to see down there, but I'm pretty sure there are. And this one, I think what we'll have to do is just take this plasticky rubber, yeah, like a silicone housing off, and hopefully we'll see that we can actually rebuild this into this. And while we're at it, let's have a look inside this, because I never did do a tear down, so it might be interesting just to see what's inside it. So first of all, let's see if I can just get this silicone thing off. Yeah, I can see the screw hole now. So this must be the way we get at this. Okay, yeah, it's coming off quite easily. Okay. So as I understand it, you can now buy this oscilloscope in this style, or this is a case you can fit onto the old one if you want to, technically speaking, upgrade. Yeah, let's see. Screwdrivers are the wrong size, I think, for these screws. Let's see. Let's have a look. Yeah, they just cross-head screws are now clearly. Yeah, you can probably see quite clearly down there now. So it's quite narrow to get in there. That's the first thing I've noticed. I'm not sure that this screwdriver actually has the right size end on, although I don't have many others that would actually fit down inside here actually. So let's have a go. It didn't come with any tools to do this with, so presumably it's a fairly standard screwdriver you need. Yeah, I heard that one click. Okay. Okay, just this one doesn't quite want to give it up. Okay, so let's see what is actually inside this now. Well, we have the battery pack, which is stuck down with like a sticky pad by the looks of it. I can just disconnect this. Okay. Not so easy to get off there, but I think, yeah, we do need to do, because the other one is just a housing. Don't want to put too much pressure on the battery. Maybe this is a better idea. So I'm just actually pushing down on the foam itself just to get it to release, basically to unstick it. Okay. Okay, yeah, I've got fingers under it now. Yeah, so it's come off complete with the pad. That wasn't so easy, actually, to be honest. I had to put a bit more pressure on that than I would have liked to do. Now it's coming off okay. So there's the battery pack. And we have the oscilloscope itself. So what do we have? We have one very large processor chip, I guess. Yeah, that one, you can see it. Quick look around inside here. These digital to analog converters, or rather ADCs or something like that. Analog to digital. Well, they're in the direction. These must be like the input amplifiers under this shielding here, so we can't easily see under there. Connection to the display, obviously. Okay, so that's what we actually have inside there. There's one of these per channel, so I'm fairly sure these are ADCs, and this does the processing. Okay, so the PCB is held in with some more screws. One of them is in an awkward place to get to, of course, down by here. What do you expect? Yeah, so nothing particularly unusual there. Is this one of the ones that pushes forward or flicks upwards? Actually, you know, if I can't, I'll just do this. Okay. Well, in fact, I can. Yeah, it's loose. Okay, so this is now out, but the display is still down in here. Okay, so we're going to have to just free up the ribbon cable, but that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, it's a lift up one. Okay. So that's the actual oscilloscope itself. This is a display, and we have the buttons basically on this piece. Okay, so that's what we have. Yeah, these are all your buttons. So let's have a look inside the new kit and see what we have there. Well, here's the new housing. So this literally just slid apart. There was no screws in it. Obviously it does have the screw hole, so we must just use the ones from the original one. So you can see this actually just slides in and out like so. There's a sticky pad in here. It is sticky in actual fact. And we have the little rubbery thing here with the buttons on, so this just goes in here. Okay, simple. So now I need to get the display unit out of this one. I don't want to break this. It's, what's holding that in there? A little bit. Let's have a look. Oh, the whole thing just lifts up. I just gently pulled on the ribbon, no pressure, and it came out. So that's the actual display. Keep my fingers off it. There's no bit of speck of dust there. But I'm not even going to try and get that off, actually. Probably make it even worse, so I do, yeah. So there's a port number on here. I was going to say there's no port number on the display, but there is a port number on the flex there, which I guess is part of the display, so maybe that is actual port number for whatever type of display this actually is. It says it's digital phosphor. Okay, so that we must just put into the new housing. Let's see. Oh yeah, it just fell in. It just fell in place. So it's not quite right. It needs to go sideways a little bit. Yeah, you can see. Another go, so just push it to the side. Yeah, so that's definitely in place now around the edges there. Yeah. And then I guess the PCB just mounts in with the same screws we had originally. Okay. Yep, that sits in there. I would say just from doing this, there was no instructions with it, but the reassembly or assembly in the UK seems to be easier than the actual disassembly was. Just go right down there. Well, after a little bit of fiddling around trying to get this to fit in, which it won't fit in, I think I figured out that I actually need to replace this piece with this piece. Some instructions would have been nice with this. I mean, possibly they're just online and I haven't looked yet, but maybe have to be a little bit smarter than me. But yeah, that goes on there. That's the difference with that. Now, hopefully this will just fit together. Yeah. It doesn't because I think these spaces are also too long. Yeah, it wobbles. I'm a bit loath to just take these off now. It didn't come with any other ones to fit instead, but I think they're too wide to go in here. So now I will have to look up the instructions. Well guys, I just Googled and some searches were already coming up on here anyway. Housing change, housing replacement. So it looks like other people have struggled with the same thing, but it looks like nobody's telling us how we actually do this. How do we do this? Well, I guess this is one of these cases where we just have to work it out for ourselves. I'll go directly into Google with this. Maybe just YouTube is letting me down. Housing change, we'll try that. No. Then we need to figure out how to do it. Simple as that. Okay, so what's the problem with this? And am I going to be the first person to publish a video on this? Yeah, that makes a change. So, well, it doesn't want to go any further than that. That's the problem. The display is definitely sitting in the slot where it goes, so that's not what's stopping it. That's flush in there. Maybe these just need to compress a little bit. Yeah, let's have a look. So in the slot, that's as far as it's going. Do we just literally, well, I can push down on it. Yeah, I think that's all we do, guys. I think we just literally put a bit of pressure on and put the screws in. Let's try it. Screws going in. It's not, no, that's not holding very well. A little bit more pressure. Now it's screwed in. Now it's got a bit of bite. Yeah, this will push down. Okay. Yeah, I won't put them in too tight. I just want to kind of get it to sit flat. So I'm putting a bit of pressure on this end of it. Okay. Yeah, so it's still not sitting flat in here, but I can push there. Okay, so push that down. I don't want to over tighten these, obviously, and break the plastic. Okay, I think my biggest worry with this was basically breaking the display. Yeah, these are tightening down now. Yeah, back one. Okay, so we have the thing in the housing. Okay, just reset that again. I just want to make sure I get this actually so it lines up properly. Okay, slide it in, get the line nice and straight. Okay, yeah, that's level, obviously. So that's the only connection we need to make. Now the battery. Well, this is sticky basically. So make sure I get the thing the right way round. So that way. Well, this was the sticky side before, so I'm thinking it must go this way then. Okay. Battery, yeah, that holds down just fine. Removing it was much more difficult, and that I was not very happy doing, but there we are. Power on. And now this should just slide back in. Yeah, just slide it back in. Okay. Yeah, this is closed. It's just like a effectively like a ridge there, I think. Yeah, need a little click. Okay. Same that side. Yeah, a little click. So let's just put the screws in. I have to use the screws out of the other one. It didn't come with any. Now, these are not easy to get out either. Okay, let's try it. That screwdriver is too big. These appear to be, I don't think they're capty, they're just not coming out easily, basically. It would have been nice if they just gave us some fresh screws. I don't really see why We can't just have some new screws. Yeah, it does come out, just a bit of effort. That seems a bit silly they don't just give us some new screws. Okay. Okay. Again. Okay. Let's try. I mean, I could power this up, I guess, before I tighten the screws in, but I just wanted to do it this way, I think, so to make sure like the keyboard has enough pressure against the little rubbery pads, basically. That looks okay. Well, it certainly looks the same both sides. One way or another, I seem to have ended up with one screw spare, and I can't figure out why, because there was only 4 in the other one. That's magic, yeah. Okay. I'm not totally convinced that it's together at those ends, but that's as far as it's going to go. Screw fell out. Which one? Well, I have 2 spare screws now. I obviously did something wrong there, but I have 2 spare screws. It means it's tight. It's not loose. Well, this end isn't tight. Okay. That's where one of the screws came from. Okay. Yeah, it's screwed, but this screw is having a bit of trouble getting a grip by the sounds of things, but that's how it is. Okay, just mentioned that. Okay. It's like there's a clip here or something that isn't quite locking. Well, I'm saying both sides actually. No, I'm not happy with that. Okay, I loosened then, effectively loosened the ones at the bottom end, retighten the ones at this end, and then retighten the ones at the bottom, and now it doesn't click anymore. So now it is in place. Okay, let's see after all that if it's working. Well, there's a bit of charge in the battery, but there wasn't much charge in the battery. I'll just put a power bank onto it. Okay. So, obviously, electrically, they're exactly the same. It's the same oscilloscope. The only thing I notice in particular is these buttons here are much larger, and they're definitely easier to press. That is nicer to use. The whole thing has a kind of a more positive feel to it than it did before. Okay. Yeah, it definitely feels nicer to use. Whether it was worth the effort, I'm not totally sure, although I must admit, with no instructions, it took me a little while to do that. Probably 30 minutes messing around with this. Well, you'll see how long this video is to start with, yeah? The other thing I'll mention with the old housing with the blue silicone on this was probably a little bit more drop proof than this new one. Obviously this does have the silicone, but this part is hard plastic. Another thing I just want to check. So one of the issues I had with this was these were a bit fiddly to fit. Now they're easier to fit, the scope probes, than they were previously, that I will say. But one of the advantages of the recessed scope probes before was if you were working on high voltage equipment, so you're connecting to hot ground, it was very difficult to touch the metalwork and get a shock. Now that is now easier to do. Yeah. Now you could say, well look, this is down to the user. Don't be stupid and touch things you shouldn't touch. You should know what you're doing. And I get that. I do get that. I mean, responsibility should be down to the person using the equipment to use it correctly. But whether that's an advantage, I don't know. I think previously in the old housing, they were a little bit more recessed, so you were less likely to come into contact with the metalwork. I mean, the rest of the thing is perfectly insulated, so that's fine. Okay guys, so that's either how to change the housing or how not to do it. Let's have a quick look to see how much these housings actually cost. Are they available yet? Or was this a pre-release sample that they sent me? DPOX180 housing. Yeah, let's have a look. H housing. Well, I think I've answered the question, guys. So it appears this is a pre-release, although some people were already asking, because if you type a search and it comes up before, and I never searched for this before, so it wasn't just me, then some people must have these, I guess. So there you have it, guys. A first for me. Yeah, that doesn't normally happen. I'm not normally the first person to get the hands on something. What do I think? Well, as I mentioned before, it definitely feels nicer. Without a doubt, it definitely feels nicer. The buttons are definitely more, they kind of like have a clicky effect almost. When you press a button, it's like a little click, even though it's like one of these rubbery dead flesh keyboards that they invented with the Sinclair Spectrum, obviously. But it does actually feel positive. Obviously, that I can't show you that. I can only tell you what I'm finding, and that's that it feels positive to you. So I like it. It would be nice if it was a bit easier to do, but maybe somebody will come along and show you how to do it properly. But in the meantime, well, guys, what do you think? Comments below. And as for me, well, I hope to see you all soon on another Learning Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.